Star Trek, both the original series and the Next Generation, to a lesser degree Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and even lesser degree Enterprise, is a rather sort of interesting franchise. There are many good elements, but there are things that we seem to selectively forget about. Now, it is clearly a model of a utopian kind of idealistic society where work seems to not be a major issue. You know, people seem to have employment, they seem to be looked after, and you know, we're exploring the universe, which is great. But time and again, there are certain things that crop up, and it kind of opens the window on the darker side of Star Trek, if you will, the negative parts of this utopia. For example, I'm probably going to mainly focus on Next Generation because I kind of have a good knowledge of that compared to the rest. But there is, you know, the evidence of Tasha Yar's upbringing, as played by Denise Crosby, and she was on, if you will, a planet out on the fringes that was populated by humans, and there was known to be sort of rape gangs and kind of sex slaves and human trafficking, those kind of things, in this supposedly ideal world where no one wants for anything. Well, they're humans, ergo they are Federation citizens, and they're just left to their own devices to have this seedy, I would say underbelly, but from the way it's portrayed, it's not subtext, it's text. That's how the planet is run. I mean, we later learn, you know, that perhaps it's not quite that bad, but it's still less than perfect, and they are still humans. It's clearly known that they are humans. So, that's less than perfect. There are situations where the Prime Directive, this great idea in principle, don't interfere in undeveloped planets, if you will, their machinations. And that's, as I say, it's got its benefits, but there are many situations, I'm not going to list them all here because there's a lot, trust me, where the ethical thing to do may well be to break the Prime Directive. But Picard, who in many ways at times is quite a maverick and willing to bend, if not entirely break rules. Let's not forget the time he completely remade rules to allow Data to be counted like a normal sentient being. But he chooses to hide behind the Prime Directive and not intervene. That's not an ideal society. I mean, granted, yes, like I say, there is benefits to the non-interference idea, but if sentient life is in danger and at risk, then surely that comes first. We have many instances of, say, cave paintings and things like that that we've got on this planet that potentially lead to some kind of space-faring race helping us when we were developing. If we were to help out some of these other planets, maybe we'd just, I don't know, fade into myth and legend. It wouldn't be an issue. It wouldn't be a massive problem. There are times when they don't want to breach the Prime Directive and end up doing it inadvertently anyway, on a number of occasions. And to be honest, in some situations they even willfully breach it. And it's the one thing that gets me, it's that lack of consistency. There are many situations where that breach could have saved countless lives, and they've chosen not to do it. Whereas, say, the next season, or even a few weeks later, they just go, well, we'll just break the Prime Directive, it's fine. Obviously, they don't quite say it that way, but they justify it. And it's the one thing I don't get. This whole idea that, you know, no one needs to lie, cheat and steal. Why are there still characters who lie, cheat and steal then? Clearly, someone out there thinks that there's a need to lie, cheat and steal. And I'm not even counting Ferengi, because that's kind of their society model. That's fine. we're not expecting them to change. But when humans are out in the galaxy, lying, cheating and stealing to get by, when there's this supposed perfection, and other Federation citizens, if you will, there are elements in so many societies that have this bad element, and okay, you can say, well, you're not going to completely override some of these things. People are still going to be dicks a lot of the time. That's fair enough. But don't try and paint everything as a perfect picture. So, you know, it's not perfect. And it's one thing that annoys me when it's painted as this ideal view of the future. Well, there's still a lot of problems. But it's not all bad. If you tune in right here next week, I'll be giving the other side of the equation, because I do concede that it is a lot better than I've portrayed it here. So come back next week, and until then, take care.